Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this film this evening. My name is Heather Meyer, and I'm with Dynamic Wisdom, and I provide counseling and consulting services through the lens of the nurtured heart approach, which you saw in this film. It is our hope that you found the participants relatable and the information digestible and accessible to you, and that it perhaps sparked a recognition or a touching of how your own story impacts you. I saw this movie at a Nurtured Heart Approach Global Summit last summer and immediately was inspired to bring this movie to our community. We are storytellers, we are community dwellers, and those of us that are part of the Indie Holistic Hub use story. All of us in our own ways use stories to support others to empower themselves from the inside out. And it was my hope, starting with the Indie Holistic Hub Wellbeing Fest, which is upcoming next month, last year, was to let's start conversation. And I wanted to see if we can start conversation and create community and share the resources that we have to build bridges within the community. From you all as individuals, those of you that are practitioners, those of you that work in organizations that provide services to others, and even the local hospitals and mental health clinics. There's a lot of potential for collaboration. And we have moved forward in creating collaboration, and I would love to share with you how we are making some of the resources in the movie accessible here in our own way. I am joined today by Mark Pirtle, who is the creator of Is Your Story Making You Sick? And a program called Skillfully Aware. And I am joined by Dr. Melissa Laborski of Indie Healing Center. And she's going to share with us more about how we are creating conscious community. To begin, I'd like to ask Mark to share with us. Mark, what was your inspiration for creating this film? And what is that driving purpose that you wanted to bring this into our communities?
Okay, well, thank you so much, Melissa and Heather, for hosting this event, and hello to everybody who spent your evening watching the film. My heart is just bursting. I'm so happy that the film is getting out in the world, and thank you for you two for being such great ambassadors in the work. My wife and I, we work sort of in the recovery field. I've been doing that work for 2 decades, and my uh, I think that the whole idea of recovery is conventional recovery. We hold it too narrowly. It's all sort of biologically based. Everything's sort of a problem with the brain, and then you take a pill for that problem. And my inner journey. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and so I started the pain program at a place called Sierra Tucson. And uh, what got me into that place was having my own journey, my own bottoming out, developing many different kinds of stress illnesses, and becoming a meditator. And so I brought all of that, uh, not only book learning and understanding how on the inside the body amplifies pain signals, but also from the meditation side, how we frame our experience, and that's an amplifier as well. And so, working in the recovery field, and then just seeing that it's too narrowly focused, not enough on what the person is doing, unbeknownst to them, unconscious to them. What are they doing to make things worse? And they may not even know. And that's where the education needs to be. So rather than you've got something that has you, it's more like, let's learn about these subtle interior dynamics so you can become the subject, and the condition then becomes the object that now you have it. You see, and that's a deconstruction of yourself on the inside, where you're both the subject and the object at exactly the same time. And the subject in that case is your leading edge of evolution, the part of you that is wise and kind and understands where you need to go, and it has the distress tolerance and the strength to get you there. And that part of you, that trailing edge part of you that identifies more as the victim or is less strong and weak, the one that feels like it's holding the symptoms, we need, there needs to be a dialectic between those two parts inside of us, and the wise and kind person needs to drive the bus. And so that's what I wanted to do, is empower um, people with stress related conditions through this film and all the other work that I do in the world, to know how to do it themselves, because you can't get out of something that you're trapping yourself in. If your story is making you sick and you can't get outside of your story to work with it, you're stuck. And so I wanted to give people the tools.
Beautiful. I'm digesting what you're sharing because you encapsulated that so incredibly well.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So, Mark, you explained that so well, and then how do we do that, and how do we do that locally right now? That's our focus here. And so I want to introduce Melissa to share with us a little bit more about what we're doing to support and carry out that vision that Mark just shared.
Yes, thank you so much. And you beautifully stated what myself, Jennifer, and Heather initially felt when we witnessed this film, the power of that message, the importance of that message. And that was before COVID and everything else that's been evolving in 2020. So for us to use that word again, amplify, that amplified how we needed to connect to that message, and that it needed to be heard as far and wide as we could, locally and beyond. So beyond witnessing the film, that's how we began, is sharing the message of the film. It became about, where do we go from here? What can we build together? How can we collaborate together with the holistic providers in our community that also feel the importance of this message, but also with our community itself, to hear their voice and hear what their needs are in this crazy, chaotic, evolving time. So from that initial trio of Heather, Jennifer, and I, we brought in another wonderful woman, Kelly. And beyond that, we just continued to grow, and eventually we evolved into what we now call the Conscious Community Collaborative. So the purpose of the collaborative is to do as what Heather said. How can we bring the work of the film into our community in a freely available way? So we offer events as practitioners. There are 10 of us. We are collaborating together. Each of us have, as you witnessed in the film, that was part of what really moved me about the film, was not only witnessing the experience of the participants, but witnessing the practitioners themselves and how they were collaborating and working together to create this whole process. So we, as the Conscious Community Collaborative, are trying to recreate that in our community through co-creating these events each month. And eventually, when we can, we'd love to be able to work with Mark and create a retreat-like setting as it was experienced in the film. So down the road. But in the meantime, we've already been releasing events every month, and it's just been beautiful to witness not only who shows up and how open people are, how hungry they are for this, but also to see how the co-creations, the collaborations between the practitioners has evolved.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is that we are all always growing, and our stories are always ever evolving. And we're always fine tuning and finding new ways of being both that observer and you know, the witness of what we're doing and being engaged. It's this always forever continue balancing and growing, and that we are all growing and learning with one another. You know, all of us has something to offer one another. And that's the beauty of working in collaboration. And you know, with the inspiration of, you know, Jennifer Sefrin has with beginning this series. This series is the first of, you know, uplifting hearts in the heartland. Well, this is a time we want to uplift hearts through inspiring and educating and engaging on the level of practitioner, of individual, and with partners in the community. And we're beginning to do that as well, so that we can all share in resources and strengths. So it's a pretty incredible time for us to be moving forward with the work that you've provided for us, Mark, and along with, you know, the work that we have been doing. Do you have anything additional that you wanted to share about what you have up and coming, Mark?
Let's see. The film is being released on PBS. That started serendipitously yesterday in the LA market and the Denver market. So we're rolling out, and October is Behavioral Health Month. So we're super excited that PBS has picked us up for Behavioral Health Month. That's happening. Yeah, I'm doing what I've always done. I teach online classes. If you want to get a hold of me, my website is skillfullyaware.com. And yeah, what I should mention is I'm finishing the companion book to this film. It's also titled "Is Your Story Making You Sick?" And I'm in the last chapter, and God willing, that'll be published in the early to mid part of next year. So that's coming too.
We are very excited to see the outcome of that book.
Thank you.
And we're behind you all the way, and sending good energy for for your creativity.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. Again, Dr. Melissa Laborsky of Indie Healing Center and Mark Pirtle, creator of Is Your Story Making You Sick? Everyone have a safe drive home. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.